Good morning. In this class, I am going to explain different types of looping statements that are available in C language, that are provided in C language. In the previous classes, I have explained if statement, that is a simple if else ladder, and simple if else ladder, and nested if. So before going into this, I want to give a brief about the previous classes. The control structures are divided into two kinds. One is branching statement, another one is looping statements. Number one is branching statement, number two is looping statements. And the control structures are used to take the decisions in the program. The control structures are used to take the decisions in the program. These are two types: decision making and loops. Decision making and looping statements. In the decision making statements, there is a selection control structure and sequence control structure. In decision making, there is a selection control structure and sequence control structure. The selection control structure, that is if statement, and the sequence control structure is a switch case, and iteratives are loops. The selection control structure is the if else statement, sequence control structure is a switch case, and iterative statements are loops. Iterative control structures are looping statements. So here, the previous class that we have seen different types of if statement, different types of if statements. The if statement is used to check the conditions in the program. The if statement is used to check the conditions in the program. For example, if you want to check a biggest number in between two numbers. If you want to check a biggest number in between two numbers, the biggest number in between two numbers, that is with the help of if else statement. If a greater than b, then a is big. So there are four different kinds of if statements are available. There are four different kinds of if statements are available. They are simple if, they are simple if else, else if, that is the continuation, if else if, and finally else, and the last one nested if. The final one is nested if. That is, here the simple if only single condition. If you want to mention multiple if conditions, that is if else and if else ladder, that is more than two conditions. If you want to check more than two conditions in a program, that is if else ladder, if else ladder. Series of conditions, multiple conditions, that is series of conditions. And then nested if, that is a if statement inside another if statement. If a greater than b, then I want to check a greater than c. If a greater than b, then I want to check a greater than c. So here, like that conditions, we can check with the help of this nested if statement. And we have seen some programs, that is biggest of two numbers, even odd number, even odd number, and checking a given character is vowel or not, and finding or determining the biggest number among three numbers. That programs we have seen in the previous videos. That programs we have seen in the previous videos. The control statements are used to change the flow of execution of a program. The control statements are used to change the flow of execution of a program. These are used to change the flow of execution of a program. So in general, a C program executes the statements in a sequential manner. In general, a C program executes all the statements in a sequential manner. But in sometimes, depending upon the situations, we need to change the flow of execution based on the condition. If it is true, then one set of statements. If it is false, then another set of statements. So the control structures are used to change the flow. The control structures are written by using this arithmetic and logical operators. So the selection control structure is a if, and the sequence control structure is a switch case, and iterative control structures are loops. Now in this video I will discuss about the looping statements. I will discuss about the looping statements. So here, what is the purpose of a loop? What is the purpose of a loop? Loops are used to execute the statements repeatedly. Loops are used to execute the statements repeatedly. Here, loop, just understand the meaning. Loop means rotation. What is the meaning of a loop? A loop means rotation. A loop means rotation. I want to print my name. I want to print my name. I want to print my branch name. Welcome to DCCP onto the console out onto the monitor, that is 5 times or 10 times. I want to print my branch name, or I want to print my name onto the console, or the college name, which is SRRS Government Polytechnic. Welcome to SRRS GPT Sirsilla, onto the screen 5 times. So here, if you want to print any statement, if you want to execute the statement, any statement, number of times with the with this loops. Here the statements which are to be executed repeatedly, the statements which you want to execute repeatedly, just you have to write that statements in a loop. The statements which you want to execute repeatedly, just write the statements in a loop. Write that statements in a loop. The statements which you want to execute repeatedly, just write that statements in a loop. Write that statements in a loop. And based on condition, the statements under the loop are executed. Based on the condition given in the loops, the statements are executed. The statements are executed. So here, with the help of a loop, a group of statements will be executed repeatedly till the condition become false. Till the condition become false. Here, execution of one or more statements as a group repeatedly. Execution of one or more statements as a group repeatedly. With the help of a loop, a group of statements will be executed repeatedly. With the help of a loop, a group of statements will be executed repeatedly till the condition become false. Till the condition become false. That is the flow of execution. Just see this one. The arrow is moving. Here the condition will be there, and the arrow is moving towards the statements, and then arrow downwards and go to this one, and again going to the initial stage. Again it is going to check the condition here, and just see the arrow here. The arrow is rotating. The arrow is rotating. Here the condition will be there. Here the condition will be there. Just see the condition here will be there. That is Here the condition is there. Here I am writing that is condition here. See this diagram. The loops are execution of one or more statements as a group repeatedly. With the help of a loop, a group of statements will be executed repeatedly till the condition becomes false. Till the condition becomes false. Here the flow of execution, that is condition. Just see here. So statements, first it checks the condition, then if the condition is true, the condition is true, then under the statements under this loop will be executed, and this is a repeated process. The condition is true, this will be executed. Let's see this diagram. I'll show you this in a paint. I'm showing you the loop execution process diagram. Arrow mark. Where is the arrow mark? The shapes. Here the condition, these are the statements. If the condition is true, again it executes the statements repeatedly. The condition is false, the condition is false, If the condition is false, it skips out from the loop. The condition is false, the condition is true only. If it is true only, the statements are executed repeatedly like this. If it is false, it is come out from the loop. If it is false, just see this diagram. Here the condition is a condition statement. If this is true, the statements are executed and the loop is repeated like this. If the condition is false, then it skips out from the loop and it executes another set of statements if there is any statement in the program. If there is any statement in the program. First it checks the condition. Then if it is true, the statements under this loop are executed, and if it is false, then it goes to another set of statements execution. See here the same diagram. With the help of a loop, a group of statements will be executed repeatedly till the condition becomes false. With the help of a loop, a group of statements will be executed repeatedly till the condition becomes false. A loop contains two parts. A loop contains two parts: control statement, body of the loop. A loop contains two parts: control statement and body of the loop. This is the place where the condition of the loop will be placed. Control statement, this is the place where the condition of the loop will be placed. And body of the loop, this is the place where the statements associated with the loop are placed for execution. Control statement, this is the place where the condition of the loop will be placed. This is the place where the condition of the loop will be placed. And body of the loop, this is the place where the statement associated with the loop are placed for execution. This is the place where the statement associated with the loop are placed for execution. When the loop get terminated, when the condition become false, then the loop is terminated or stopped. When the condition become false, then the loop is terminated or stopped. A loop contains two parts. A loop contains two parts: control statements and body of the loop. Control statement and body of the loop. This is the place where the condition of the loop will be placed. This is the place where the condition of the loop will be placed. And body of the loop, this is the place where the statement associated with the loop are placed for execution. See here in this diagram, this is the condition and this is the statements. This is the condition of the loop. This is the, here we write condition of the loop, condition of the loop. And this is the body of the loop. This is the body of the loop. This is the condition and this is the body. condition of the loop and body of the loop. The loop is get terminated when the condition become false. The loop get terminated when the condition become false. A loop contains two parts, control statements and body of the loop. A loop contains two parts, control statement and body of the loop. This is the place where the condition of the loop will be placed. This is the place where the condition of the loop will be placed and body of the loop. This is the place where the statement associated with the loop are placed for execution. With the loop are placed for execution. The loop get terminated when the condition become false. The loop get terminated when the condition becomes false. The loop get terminated when the condition becomes false. Here, the loops are used to execute the statements repeatedly. The loops are used to execute the statement repeatedly. So how many number of times the statements are executed repeatedly means when the condition become false. When the condition become false. When the condition become false, up to that the loops are executed repeatedly. The condition become false, up to that the loops are executed repeatedly. A loop has two parts. A looping statement has two parts, that is control statement and body of the loop. That is control statement and body of the loop. Control statement and body of the loop. The control statement, it is nothing but condition. The control statement is nothing but condition of the loop. Generally, the loops are executed many number of times. The statements which are written inside a loop are executed number of times. Many number of times. The statements which are inside a loop are executed many number of times. How many number of times? It depends upon the condition of the loop. It depends upon the condition of the loop. When the condition becomes false, when the condition becomes false, the loop gets terminated. For example, I want to execute my name, that is 5 times. For example, I want to execute my name 5 times. 5 times, that is the condition. I need to write, take a variable. I need to take a variable and I need to initialize that variable. I need to take a variable and I need to initialize that variable. I need to take a variable and I need to initialize that variable. Initialize that variable with a value 1 and I need to write a condition. The value reaches, if you want to execute 5 times, then the value reaches 5 times. I want to execute that statements inside a loop. If I want to print 10 times my name or my college name 10 times, then I need to write the value that reaches 10 times. So here we have to mention the condition that how many times you want to execute that loop, that how many times you want to execute that loop, how many times that you want to execute that loop, that is the condition of the loop. That is the condition of the loop. Then types of loops, different types of loops. Here three different types of loops are there. Here three different types of loops are there. They are while loop, for loop and do while loop. The three different types of loops are while loop, for loop and do while loop. The while loop and for loop and do while loop provided in C language to execute the statements repeatedly, to execute the statements repeatedly. The while loop is a very simple one. It's a very simple loop or simple one to execute the statements many number of times depending upon the condition. Depending upon the condition. While condition, then the number of statements that you want to execute repeatedly. While condition, then the number of statements that you want to execute repeatedly. And for, so here in order to execute, in order to write a loop, that is we need three statements. We need three statements. That is initialization statement. In order to write a loop, we need three statements. What are these three statements? See here. In order to write a loop, we need three statements. Initialization statement, condition, and increment or decrement statement. Increment or decrement statement. Initialization statement, condition, and increment or decrement statement. Increment, initialization statement, condition statement, increment or decrement statement. A loop needs three statements. In order to execute a loop, it requires three statements. It requires three statements. In order to execute a loop, it requires three statements: initialization statement, conditional statement, increment or decrement statement. Increment or decrement statement. So this is the initialization statement. This is a initialization statement, condition statement, increment or decrement statement. So the statements which you want to execute, we write here. The statements which you want to execute, we write here. The statements which you want to execute, we write here. Okay. So for any loop here, there are three different types of loops are there: while loop, for loop, do while loop. Three different types of loops are there, that is while loop, for loop and do while loop. For any loop we need three statements. If you want to build a loop, that requires three statements: initialization statement, condition statement, increment or decrement statement. Initialization statement, condition statement, increment or decrement statement. Initialization statement, condition statement, increment or decrement statement. So for any loop it requires three statements. So there are three different types of loops are provided in C language, that is while loop, for loop and do while loop. So apart from these three, there is another one is there, that is a go to. That is a go to a particular label, go to a particular label. We write some set of statements under a loop and we mention go to that loop, go to that loop. If the condition is true, go to that loop. The condition is false, it executes another statements. It executes another statements. It executes another set of statements. So the loops are used to execute the statements repeatedly until the condition is satisfied. Whenever the condition becomes false, then the loop is get terminated. When the condition become false, then the loop is get terminated. When the condition become false, then the loop is get terminated. So these are the different types of loops provided in C language: while loop, for loop and do while loop. And in the next video I will explain about this while loop and the syntax of the while loop and the flowchart of the while loop, how it will be executed, the flowchart of the while loop and programs, and I will explain some programs on this while loop. Okay, thank you.